she's looking good. Sound is good. Stand by for countdown.
Copying you 5-5.
5, 4, 3.
Afternoon, once again, back with Steve. We're at the front this afternoon, once again with Mark behind camera. Herman once again in final control. And we got this afternoon, see what we can find for you, coming to you live on the Safari channel. Not too sure on anything from this morning. It's quite hot, animals are moved around. Let's go try our luck. Okay. Hello, Mark. We'll be keeping our eyes open for some special birds this afternoon. It's coming to the end of the rainy season. Cuckoos are becoming hard to come by. If you can find one, quite a special thing to see. So a day like this, it's quite warm. Typical February afternoon. We're looking for many animals, very likely going to be in the shade or sheltering down in some drainage line. It's just that those pair of leopards yesterday weren't very active for the first good half an hour, 45 minutes. Mark was with them. It's typical of your cats. They need to move around when it's hot, save your energy. You're gifted as leopards and lions are. It's a nice European bee eater. Mark can get a nice shot of him there. You're able to see he's sitting with his mouth open. When you don't have sweat glands and ducts like we do for cooling yourself down, oh, off he goes. Open your mouth, let the wind blow over it. Good way for cooling down. It's a term called gullah fluttering. Very useful in birds, and it's a strategy that allows birds to survive in temperatures as we have here in our summer months. It's not a cuckoo, but it's a special one nonetheless. European bee eater, migratory bird spending our spring and summer months here with us. It's like just like the European roller from this morning. Comes down a little bit earlier though, late October, sometimes early November, with influx of insects that follow the rains. Very adept at catching insects on the wing. Not as beautiful as the carmine bee eater. I don't know if you get that in this area. Mark gives me the nod. They came down around the hours, right, the 13th or 14th of December. I know because a few of us had a bet on that. Beautiful iridescent red and orange colour. Let's go down towards the tree out there. What's this basin from? Some tracks of that Ellie bull heading north or west on this road. We'll go down, as Mark suggests, down to Treehouse Dam. Those of you who aren't aware, this is only my second drive on the property, so we'll be navigating with the use of Mark this afternoon, as I was this morning with Rex. Trying to learn these landmarks. I must be honest, it is all very similar. It's called Fun Road. Oh wow, there's a nice, beautiful bird. It's just posing for us. There's a lilac-breasted roller. We didn't get a very good close-up of him this morning. The lighting isn't still 100%, but from my visual here, he looks very scraggly. It's the typical feather plumage of a bird like this at the end of his breeding season. Male and female have been trying very, very hard to look after their chicks, and it is going to be time for them to molt in the next little while, and all those old feathers are going to go, replaced by beautiful sets of iridescent new colors. Clearly not all concerned by us. But as far as intelligence goes, this bird is really switched on. Look how he's standing in the shade there, on an exposed dead branch, over a road. Any insect that falls within his visual range, he'll quite easily be able to fall down and grab, almost no effort, while maintaining a nice comfortable position in the shade. Even where I'm sitting, so much more comfortable than we were a few minutes ago. Goes just a little bit. Might find him a little bit more in the sun. Those of you who've never viewed a lilac-breasted roller before in person or with good lighting, definitely missed out. Got one of the most fantastic photos of one back home. Took from position probably a little bit closer than what we are now. Animal in full view of the sun. Typical bowl shape of a bird. It's going to feed on insects. Clearly see he's not a nectar feeder. Strong, slightly recurved bill, typical for insect feeders, and also very good flight to go with that. So folks, a question from Phyllis regarding this morning, talking about tannins in plants. The question is, how long does it take for those tannins to subside? And it's difficult to say. I'm not too sure I'm sure there's some papers out there that have measured the decrease and how long it's taken, but I'm not too sure on the exact amount of time. But most of your herbivores have a very enlarged liver. Look at a kudu and a giraffe compared to that of a normal grazing animal. The liver is extremely enlarged, and that's to deal with tannin excuse me, and certain alkaloids that come with your plant. So not too sure how long it would take to decrease, but the animal would move up to that plant and taste it and notice that it's got a high tannin content, and it would leave it alone. But they do have thresholds of the amount of tannin that they can feed on. They are capable of doing a little bit with it, but that is the problem in your small enclosed areas, is the fact that the plants never get a chance to rest, so they never do drop their tannin content. And I was mentioning briefly with kudu, there were studies years ago done with kudu feeding on tannin plants, and they couldn't quite understand why these animals were dying. And they did their autopsies, they were cutting them open, their stomachs were filled with leaves, but nothing had digested. So essentially what tannin does is tannin in the diet actually binds to the protein of the plant. So with an increased amount of tannin in the diet, it's going to bind to all the protein that the leaves have to offer. It's not going to be able to digest it, so it's going to be a waste of time. I suppose what the animal senses or they taste is that bitterness. I can clearly taste the bitterness when I feed on it. That is the problem, so that needs to be looked out for. But I'm sure somewhere out there someone's done the study or has the information that could be able to lead to a timing, but in a large area like this there's no need really. Animal just moves on. Plenty of leaves and foliage to find. It's one of those magnificent plant defense mechanisms that not too many people are aware about. Communication through chemicals. Defense to the same means. It's phenomenal. Intelligence in plants, who would have thought? Yeah, the typical call of the grey hornbill, and you can actually see him right next to us here. This is honestly going to be the closest I've ever been to one of these guys. Oh, he didn't last. I think he felt I was in his comfort zone. He's checking me out. Decided he wasn't what he was looking for.
Straight to now to Gary Main. We're going to see if that leopard headed more west than we are now.
Oh, we got a buffalo on our left hand side. It's doing exactly what buffaloes like to do in this weather. I know there was a couple of people back at main camp that were enjoying a bit of a swim before I came out. You see there's that bird fluttering around on his body. I can probably go in a little bit for a close-up if he comes up. To see the very, very red coloured bill of the red-billed oxpecker. There we go. Bird that feeds on ticks. Now immediately I say red-billed, you do get the yellow-billed as well, but I've never seen one in South Africa. Not many people have. Mark has seen a couple, which is quite... There's been the odd sighting in the Sabi Sand, but it's not something many people get to witness. What the oxpecker is doing there is not building a nest in the air, as some people might tell you, but it's busy feeding on ticks. An animal of that size, a buffalo getting up to 750 towards 900 kilograms, quite a big body size, big surface area of skin, can accumulate a huge amount of ticks on that body. And so what the oxpecker is doing is running around the softer bits, feeding on fleas and ticks that have been accumulated. A nice symbiotic relationship whereby the oxpecker is actually removing parasites from the buffalo and gaining the protein that the ticks have absorbed, the blood. So actually feeding on blood of the buffalo, which is not as charming as it sounds. Okay, just like the European bee eater, you see the oxpecker sitting there with his